Oh, something's caught my lungs. Today, I wanted to talk specifically about, well, why we're going to explain weight gain as it being sort of more common in women sort of 40 and above, especially when they haven't changed how they eat, how they exercise. I'm just letting people in as they're coming through. Um, And, weight loss can sometimes feel impossible, given sort of hopefully on this call, I'm giving you the steps to, start implementing so that you can tackle not just, the menopause, but the weight loss a lot more successfully. So, firstly, who are we? It's Viola and Dean. We're obviously this is our big group. The big support group is run by us, but we have a coaching program called the MYM Club. We're nutritionists, trainers, and menopause practitioners. And the MYM Club specifically is one-to-one natural treatment sort of coaching program to help menopause women not only lose up to sort of 50 pounds of weight loss in 6 months, but also to naturally sort of reduce their and manage their menopausal symptoms. So let's jump straight in. The very first thing I want to talk about is sort of the three things that is, sort of everybody experiences inside of menopause. All right. Now, this masterclass is not going to be explaining what menopause is or the different stages of menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause. That is explained inside the free support group somewhere else. We hosted that, a few months ago. If regardless if you are in perimenopause or postmenopause, you will experience these three things. And remember, postmenopause is until end of life, right? So firstly, we look at symptoms. Okay, so symptoms usually begin around 5 to 10 years before your body ceases delivering an egg and your ovaries. So your menstrual cycle, right? On average, two of the symptoms naturally stop after menopause, and they're hot flashes and disruptions of sleep. So it depends on maybe sometimes people see this maybe 3 years into postmenopause, sometimes it's slightly later. And there's two symptoms out of around 56 different symptoms that you'll experience during menopause that will naturally alleviate themselves. The rest of the symptoms that we've talked about in the past, or you'll experience along your menopause journey, stay, or in some cases get worse until end of life if left untreated. So you'll still have symptoms in sort of post menopause, right? Um, generally, oh, skip to my head. Generally, the things that we're looking at health shifts happen is, there's a big concern for a lot of the ladies we're coaching, a lot of ladies we're speaking to. They're things like bone health, public health, pelvic health, gut health, so on. Right? You've got estrogen receptors in every single organ system in your body. So when your body stops producing estrogen, it's got a huge knock-on effect to your health, and the risks that has comes along with those, like metabolic syndrome, heart disease, so on. We're going to dive into a few of these as I'm still letting people in on the call. Um, you know, and then obviously we've got the third element, which is sort of like an umbrella, what we would call body composition. We've got weight gain there. Um, so like I guess due to shifts of hormones, metabolism, and so on, a woman's body composition is going to change. Whether that be a loss of muscle mass, whether that's be how their body's storing fat, whether that's an increase of weight gain, like visceral fat around the stomach specifically. And it's those changes that will not only knock, you know, a woman's confidence in terms of her body changing, but maybe she finds, herself being more comfortable in clothes and so on. And it's going to carry a lot of health risks as well. So we're going to learn about that today. So, firstly, why do these things happen, and what links all three of these three things together? It is hormones, right? On average, obviously everybody's sex hormones are very different, but this is what our sex hormones look like, or specifically yours. I hope mine don't look like this, because something's gone skew if it has. But basically, you've got basically a lovely, nice rhythmic flow on a monthly basis. You can see that sort of. Do you see the sort of if you if you can see this, okay, you've got the normal menstrual cycle here, and obviously we head down into perimenopause over here. We've got adolescence here, we've got postnatal. I'm not really focused on this on the left side, I'm focused in the middle, right? So it's a rhythmic flow generally. It's up, it's down, right? When when you get an egg released, estrogen naturally fluctuates and continues. As women, you've got the highest amount of eggs that you'll ever have about 5 months when we're still you're still inside your mother's womb, right? And that sort of steadily decreases around the age of 30. You can have around 30% of those eggs left, and at the age of 40, you'll have around 3% left of those eggs. So as you age, your body just naturally doesn't produce the same amount of estrogen on a monthly basis. So this nice rhythmic cycle of your sex hormones that supports so much of your health and the rest of your body naturally starts to cease, right? And this is, I've put this in there because I'll explain this in a second. I'll come back to this in a sec. You'll like it, I reckon. Right? This is a high level sort of overview. It's like this is, this and the one previously is taken from the British Menopause Society. But basically, it's just a high level overview. Let me just quickly switch back. High level overview of what those sort of sex hormones do throughout your entire lifespan. So you can see, obviously, you got adolescence, puberty, you got postnatal, you've got pregnancy and stuff like that. But in relevance, just I want to talk about the things here that we're focused on: menstrual cycle, and then sort of how that menstrual cycle changes as you start going into perimenopause, what the hormones look like postmenopause, and when you're in a state of ovarian insufficiency, sorry, down here. This state here, this is just going bloody haywire, right? This is going up and down, and in essence, it's causing a lot of the heightened symptoms that you're experiencing, and so on in that and in that sort of perimenopausal state, right? Let me just try and find the slide that I'm specifically discussing here. Yeah, do you see here? So these are the hormones specifically perimenopause. You have the progesterone surges, and sort of when you will enter postmenopause, this is basically no more, no ovaries are not working to the point there's no eggs to be delivered, and in essence, there's a sort of a flatlining of hormones. Right? You can see here. This is estrogen, progesterone bottoming out, luteinizing hormone, and FSH stay pretty elevated, and this is what causes a lot of the symptoms, right? So your hormones won't get into this state on this right side. Does my I think my green cursor shows up when I'm squiggling around there. Your hormones won't get into that state until you're postmenopause. So there's actually two phases. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Two phases of postmenopause. You've got early menopause, which is about 3 to 6 years after your period has stopped, right? And then postmenopause, which is then that 3 to 6 year period until the end of your life. That's postmenopause. So after that 3 to 6 year period where your hormones then become like this, you are deemed ovarian insufficient. So regardless if you're perimenopausal and your hormones are going all over the place like this, right? You're either in early menopause or you're in postmenopause. So you're in a state of ovarian insufficiency, you'll experience these three things. Have I ordered it? Yeah, yeah. So you'll experience these three things until the end of life if not treated, right? Your health shifts will be a major concern, and you will have some element of shift in your body composition. And I'm going to go through these things on next phase. Basically, these are the 5 things. I know there's only 3 on there, but there will be 5. These are the 5 things that the North American Menopause Society here advise that if women are looking to have optimal menopausal health, and remember, menopause is until the end of life. If you're looking to have optimal health over the age of 40, these are the 5 things, at the moment 3, but there will be 5, that we want you to be looking at. Now, obviously, if these are the 3 things that are causing concerns during menopause, it's going to be very normal for these 3 things to appear in this sort of 5-point plan from the North American Society that they've released, right? Now, the first one is obviously trying to reduce and manage symptoms, right? I mentioned earlier, these don't go away. Hot flushes in the sleep can be. But what is causing these symptoms? Now, we've got loads of information in our free group. We've done that. Please look around for that inside the free group. If you can't find it, send us a message. But basically, we dived into a lot of these symptoms in more detail because the symptoms as a whole, not all of them are hormone related. Hormone related symptoms are down to generally mineral deficiencies for the vast majority of them. We're going to talk about mineral deficiencies on this later because it does relate to that healthy body composition change that we're looking for. Obviously, you'll be wanting to look at those health factors. So, sort of to name a few, we have, ones that are probably not talked about enough, I find, is probably bone health. But in essence, when the ones that we get majorly concerned with when women are starting to lose their estrogen, is because these ones all start to increase. Bone health, commonly known about, but women aren't. Some women, not all women, some women aren't taking it seriously. But it's the thing that's the why we promote strength training. You will have the quickest decline of your bone density from 40 onwards in your 40s. This is when generally you've probably gone through that perimenopausal change. So your body is never experiencing, unless you're doing things to mitigate it, such a quick decline in your bone density in your 40s. So the rest of your bone health is actually determined about how much of that bone density you can hold onto during the quickest period of decline, right? We've got information on this as well inside our group, what you should be doing in order to optimize and strengthen your bone health. Another one, as you see, is heart health, pelvic health. Massive, massive concern and impacting in around 83% of men and women. This is pelvic health is like vaginal changes, UTIs, increased frequency of UTIs as that estrogen sorts to drop. It just changes the pH balance sort of in the vagina. What happens is UTIs go up, right? Like I don't have it there, but things like frozen shoulders, really common in menopause, aches and pains, just general bladder changes, pelvic floor, of course, prolapse of organs, sexual dysfunctions, pain when having sex. All these kind of things are falling down beneath that sort of umbrella of pelvic health. And when you're looking at brain health, obviously, we're now aware of all the latest research around estrogen receptors in our brain being linked to dementia and the sort of increase of dementia in women as they go through menopause. There's metabolic health here. This is things like cholesterol, high blood pressure, things like that, your blood sugar management. And this is relevant, for women as you age and you're no longer having estrogen, right? Menopause isn't just hot flushes and, mood swings, right? There is a massive concern about what changes due to that health. And obviously, finally, like when I say that umbrella, I'm talking about a healthy body composition. I'm talking about things like the, of course, we want a healthy body composition to improve your confidence. But a lot of this is actually we talk about today. It's a major concern is visceral fat. Look at it. We're talking about when we're talking about healthy body composition. Just let Jennifer in. We're talking about visceral fat. We're talking about muscle mass. We're talking about strength. We're talking about fitness levels. VO2 max in terms of the efficiency of your lungs. So today we're going to dive deep into visceral fat. And on this call, like one of the major reasons is let me go back. Visceral fat is one of the major reasons is, of course, a lot of you come to us and we're, looking to fit into clothes and stuff. You want to get reduced body fat, you want to get nice body composition to help with your confidence. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's bloody fantastic. Love that. But as we age, our visceral fat starts to naturally increase the way that our body stores fat starts to change, the muscle mass starts to decrease. This has gone to affect all of those other health factors that, I'm just sort of relating all of these because they're all related. Things like gut inflammation, as well, which is really, really that will like if you've got chronically inflamed gut, you're going to impact your visceral fat, you're going to impact your muscle density, your strength, you're going to change your fitness levels. These are things that we want to tackle. Now, the other two things that the North American Society mentioned, that if you're over 40 and you're looking to optimize your health, these are the five things there's gut health. We've talked about these things, there's gut health. Um, they're slightly due to menopause, but more so for age, right? From the age of 45 on average, healthy bacteria of women's guts starts to kind of fall off a cliff. So what it starts to do is radically decrease. And what does that mean? Basically, you will have then increased symptoms of maybe food sensitivities, maybe increased bloating. I bloat a lot more than I did when I was 30. You know, maybe you've changed your taste, maybe you changed your palate, how your body reacts to foods, experience bloating to certain foods that you've never experienced bloating from. Changes in bowel movement, constipation, mineral absorption, inflammation, so on. And all of this is more like, yes, it's driven by estrogen changes, but more so even driven by the fact that just natural change of microbiome in our gut as we continue to age, right? And then there is metabolism. Metabolism is the final thing we want to look at if we're looking to improve our optimal health in these sort of five categories. Now, when we talk about metabolism here, we're talking about not metabolism in relation to how quickly our body burns fat or how quickly we can burn through calories or anything like that. That's always talked about on social media. It's massively hyped on social media. Your metabolism cannot cannot break. Your metabolism is not the reason why you're gaining weight. Your metabolism cannot be you know spiked by these potions. But unfortunately, the marketing ploys that are targeted towards menopausal women, and I'm talking about metabolism here in relation to how it absorbs minerals, those sort of changes. But sort of the first aspect around metabolism when it comes to burning calories and energy and so on doesn't really change massively drastically until the age of sort of 60, 65, and then it's quite a small change. So it's a really small change, right? Now, I want you to so whenever I'm saying this because I want you to save your money and stop buying those sort of potions, social media supplements, detox things when it comes to sort of kickstarting or whatever, or burning fat when you sleep or whatever it is. I'm talking here about the higher, the body, how it breaks down, how it absorbs minerals, because that changes around 40, right? And sort of like in today's sort of talk, you can see here gut health, how intrinsically linked. Poor gut health, poor metabolism is going to lead to a poor body composition. You've got healthy body composition crossed out, you've gone here, right? I want to hone in just for a moment on the weight gain elements of these things. Like I say that body composition is a bit of an umbrella because there's muscle mass in there, and then there's body composition, how your body stores fat, and then there's weight gain. But on just this specific masterclass, we're going to talk about that element when it comes to weight loss, weight gain, etc., associated with menopause. These two things tie nicely in together. One here is these are very closely tied to both, right? Gut health has a huge impact into why women struggle to lose weight over the age of 40. And obviously, that shift in how they break down and absorb minerals also has a huge impact. And we're going to learn about why, right? So, what drives weight gain over 40? And can this be broken down into simple steps? Yeah, I think two simple categories, I think for our entire lives, any age, female, male body, doesn't matter. We have two types of fat. We have subcutaneous fat, which is the fat that's under your skin. Like you can pinch it, right? And you visibly see it. You can put it in your fingers sometimes, like roll it around. And then we've got visceral fat, which is the fat in and around your organs. Both of these shift as we age. Visceral fat shifts a lot more, as you'll see, right? So first, let me just flick to the next slide. I want to talk about subcutaneous fat. Um, like I say, you can pinch it, visibly see it. It's driven by a calorie surplus, right? The calorie needs of women do lower as you age due to muscle mass loss as well as less energy expenditure. So what does that mean? It simply means that a calorie deficit that allowed you to lose weight pre-menopause is going to be different now that you're going through peri and even into post-menopause. It doesn't radically change. Don't be doing these stupid 800 calorie diets, 1,000 calories, whatever. You don't need to go that low. Of course, obviously it's person dependent. But generally speaking, you don't need to go that low unless you're a 40-kilo lady. But if you do go that low, you're actually increasing the odds that you're going to be increasing your visceral fat. And why is that? Basically, because it's impossible to consume a balanced diet without eating a lot of calories. If you're only eating, let's say, 800 calories a day, you're never going to be getting enough minerals in your body. One of the major things that drives that visceral fat is those lack of minerals. So you're also what you're doing is you're slowing down that rate of your metabolism. So as you continue to age, not starvation mode or anything like that here on social media. We've talked about that exclusively in the MYM club. It doesn't exist. But I mean just more in terms of how your body is able to function, right? You're like this is um just a quick reference into sort of the MYM club. Obviously, I'm the founder with Viola. It's our one-to-one program. We focus on weight loss specifically in menopausal clients. Um, I'm going to have a reference because I want to make sure I've got a clear disclaimer. We've currently served over 3,000, 3,052 ladies. So we've worked with 3,052 ladies, give or take, when it comes to weight loss. And firstly, weight loss is slower during menopause, right? I've got some findings that we've found here. Um, just for an expectation point of view, because some people are going, yeah, I want to lose a stone in 4 weeks. Phew, okay, well, good luck. There needs to be some realistic, I'm flagging this because look, weight loss goes from £2 per week, that a woman could lose pre-menopause, to what we see being more of a common factor of being around 0.5 to a pound a week, which is, between it, from a kilo to 250 to 500 grams. The reason I'm flagging this is it's very important to set yourself realistic expectations and a realistic time frame around what your body can do. We see weight loss faster. Yeah, we can see weight loss faster than this, and we have. If we're pushing things like specific cardio or specific protocols around the nutrition, because maybe they've got a holiday or something like that. There's not, there is method to that madness, but there's not always a point in doing that, right? It's not going to be sustainable for most of you. Um, I personally don't like it. If I have to go that low, you won't either, most of the time. But also like there's trade-offs, right? If we go too low, there's something there we're sacrificing, just for a desire to see a quicker result. There's not much point to it. We all know what quick results do. They are a quick sort of rebound into another diet, or right. And another thing that we sort of notice, right, from the data that we have, and there's a lot of it. We've worked with a lot of ladies on a one-to-one scale, and for premenopausal women on average would get through an entire weight loss phase. They could reach their entire weight loss goal with maybe 3 plateaus, right? Right, depending on the time frame, of course, but on average 3. On average, women going through menopause notice plateaus a lot quicker. You can put your hands up if you're watching this. You're like, oh, no, that is me, right? This is things we're going to talk about in a second about. These are things like why this happens is down to inflammation, change of energy expenditure, the decrease in muscle mass, and so on. But women usually do have to change things up on a more frequent basis in order to keep that weight loss going, right? So, next one, we talked about subcutaneous fat. I want to talk about visceral fat, right? I mentioned this is the fat that wraps around our organs. This is driven by your nutritional choices. And this is driven by inflammation, high cortisol, insulin levels. It's not directly driven by a calorie surplus. So if you're a greedy little nugget this Christmas and you put on a bit of weight, it's not necessarily down to this, right? It could be subcutaneous fat. It's not necessarily visceral fat. But if it's all chocolate and sweets, I mean, doesn't matter for a couple of days, but if it's like chocolate and sweets for 3 weeks, it's going to be an increase of this, right? And because we hear all the time, right? This is probably the most important one, especially from a health point of view, but especially from that sort of belly sort of look, right? Hear all the time, oh, I haven't changed how I ate, and the weight's just going up, the scale's going up, whatever. This is because women, when they're going through perimenopause, will notice a shift in their visceral fat, right? On average, it will increase from 5% to 15% in menopausal women. This is a natural change, right? These women have all of a sudden started eating loads, not exercising. This is a natural shift. Sorry, these women have not all of a sudden started eating loads and exercising. This is a natural shift. So the reason why women will experience more natural weight gain is down to this. It's metabolically active, right? This stuff is metabolically active. And that is why us as menopausal coaches, we're concerned with body composition and getting people into a healthy body composition, right? This is why that 5 point plan that sort of a North American menopause society has advised has body composition into it because the visceral fat is metabolically active. It's dangerous. High levels of visceral fat is linked to heart disease, diabetes, stroke, metabolic syndrome. And yeah, I say it's amazing to get women into shape where they feel confident and comfortable in their clothes, and I love it. It's amazing. But as a health professional, one of my main concerns for you is decreasing the visceral fat for those reasons. I want to keep you alive. I want to keep you healthy, right? So let me go to the next slide. Now I want to just do a quick reference to the MYM club, just a few of our clients here. There is a specific client here, right? I want to show you how you can input this information into sort of real life. Because you start to actually take away the tools from this masterclass, you can start implementing. Right? I want to walk you through what we usually see on average when it comes to weight loss. Now, everybody's different, of course. They're going to see weight loss very differently and expect sort of on average what you usually find is common. This is directly from one of our clients, right? She was 252 pound, 252 pound, I think that is, 253 pound, right? When she started working with us. We sorted out nutrition, got her into a nice little deficit. Immediately, you can see she had a bit of a dip, right? £10, 8 pounds, no, £7, I don't know, 6 or 7 pounds, right? Initially. Some of it's going to be water retention in the beginning. You see things start to sort of plateau out here. Look at this here, plateauing out here, right? Most people are like, oh my God, there's no results. Oh, haven't had any results for 3 weeks or whatever it is. I don't know what the time frame is there. Um, but it's exactly the same, right? Roughly the exact, there's maybe a pound difference here and there, but it's pretty much the same, right? Things were exactly the same. We didn't change anything, right? Her calories changed not much. Well, probably I don't think they changed at all here, and they haven't. And we didn't change them, right, from this point, from this plateau here, and we didn't change them all the way down to here. She was in the same calorie deficit. And why? What is going on here? Basically, this was visceral fat. This is where we can't just get women, I can't just put you into a caloric deficit and lose that subcutaneous fat, the fat under the skin. We need to be dealing with the inflammation, the gut health, the bloating, that sort of metabolism shift. Those things that were in that sort of 5 point circle that I linked back to from a weight loss, from that sort of weight loss earlier, it's those things that we need to focus on with our sort of, our clients in order to help get those scales in order. So we're here working on things like this for, particular client. I think her issue was we're trying to address sleep and chronic stress, right? Her cortisol levels were through the roof. And so we didn't change nutrition, right? We changed her sleep schedule, or fixed her sleep and her stress management stuff. And and then the weight just obviously maintained, and then we didn't change anything nutrition wise. It just shot down, right? Um, and you know that the beautiful thing about this is, oh, her sleep was absolutely terrible, but it was knocking off a lot of her hormones, especially around cortisol. So she was experiencing high cortisol, which, like you can see earlier, was sort of increasing the visceral fat. She had poor gut health, so she was experiencing mood swings, and that's always a big sign because 90% of your serotonin is produced in the gut. So when we've got women that experience a lot of flat moods, mood swings, low energy, so on, we're looking at the gut pretty specifically, right? Okay, how are your bowel movements? Are you constipating? Are you experiencing a lot of bloating? What sort of inflammation are you feeling? You have to deal with those things in the background, whilst you're still eating the same calories. Nothing changed. But when we got those things sorted during that period, you can see the results started to come down again. Fixed, fixed, fixed. And I don't know how much it was, how much it is up until that point. I don't know, £15 or so. Maybe £20. I can't remember. Yeah, £18 or so. But if we hadn't tackled those things, like gut health, inflammation, sleep, and the cortisol, she'd have been stuck here, just trying to eat less, trying to eat less. So as you can see, we could always tackle these elements, and then we usually start to see results. Now, how do we reduce the visceral fat in more detail? There is a long range of things that we can do to reduce visceral fat, right? Number one, the top most effective thing is your nutrition choices. It does drive the most reduction in your most effective way. A few myths that we hear from time to time, which some of you may have spouted, some of you may have been, just not know, is that HRT does not drive weight loss. This is really, usually one of the most common frustrations I hear on social media when I'm talking to all you fantastic ladies is, oh, I'm going on HRT, my weight's gonna, I'm not seeing my weight loss. Well, HRT does not directly drive weight loss. If we go to the bottom, supplements do not drive weight loss either, right? A lot of them are not even regulated, so they have these false promises and that bullshit on social media that people get away with. It's insane, you know, and you know, frustrates me because supplements are maybe 3% of maybe 5% of the journey. But supplements are there to supplement a diet, so they just fill in the gaps nutritionally speaking. We're going to talk about supplements in here in a second, but I mentioned earlier, your metabolism isn't broken. People go, oh, I just can't lose weight. Um, metabolism's just broken now. You know, it's not broken, and we haven't come across somebody that's not been able to lose weight. Not one of those 3,052 ladies. Not one. And for us, we see a lot of women being targeted for these supplements and these fast, quick fix diets. When you're struggling to lose weight, menopause, it's not your metabolism isn't broken. It can't be. Um, you can't kickstart it, but it is a tool. Um, And sometimes actually fasting, sometimes people go, oh yeah, fasting has made me lose weight. Fasting is just a tool. It's not a nutritional protocol or anything like that. And you hear about fasting being, fantastically is and I do like this tool sometimes, but it's not an approach, it's not a nutritional approach. Um so I think that some of the myths there, I hope that we've sort of squashed them because let's be honest, losing weight during menopause is tough enough without misinformation and myths. Right? If you're trying to regulate your menopausal symptoms, you're trying to optimize your health, you don't need to fast, you don't need to do that. Um, you don't need to do a lot of what is happening, what people are saying on social media, right? So, um, yeah, so with fasting, for example, right? It is a tool. The reason, well, I suppose one reason you lose weight is fasting helps you adhere to a sort of a caloric deficit. So obviously, if you're going to go from eating 3 meals a day to just completely chopping out the breakfast without sort of bumping up the others, you're going to eat less. You're gonna be in a slight deficit. What happens when you're in a caloric deficit? You lose weight. It's a tool. Fasting is a tool to help you adhere to calorie deficits. It's not magic. It's not creating some magical state in the body, right? But I do like fasting. I have promoted fasting before in the past because sometimes it is a fantastic tool to help reduce inflammation, right? And what is the way to reduce what if you reduce your inflammation, what happens? You can trigger visceral fat utilization. So you use up the visceral fat, right? Now, if it's not sustainable for you, obviously then fasting is not for you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's not a huge problem, right? I want to talk about the menopause 6 point nutrition for weight loss for you, right? I think a lot of these have been referenced a lot inside the free support group around what food choices are. If you're watching this and you're part of our program, you know we talk a lot about what we're talking about in here. But basically, I want to talk about it on a sort of a higher basis. I think firstly, protein. It's not anything new, and protein is amazing when it comes to reducing that sort of visceral fat, and it's anti-inflammatory. It helps with regards to muscle development, so that you women will lose less as you age, especially if you weight training. But what you want to start with is probably three palm-sized portions a day, right? Three palms like this. So if you look at your palm, and that's if you think of putting a portion of protein, chicken breast in there, usually what a portion of protein is a day, right? So if you start getting three of those, fantastic baseline. Then you want to increase that, maybe increase it to 1 to 2 snacks of protein a day, protein yogurt, stuff like that. If you're weight training, if you're particularly active, that needs to increase. Um, everybody's protein needs vary from person to person, but it's a fantastic baseline to start with. Fiber, ladies, we mention it all the time. It's your best friend, and you don't need a fiber supplement like the amount of fiber coming out of the woodwork, charging hundreds of dollars for them. Fiber is a main component of a balanced diet. So if you need a fiber supplement, for us, it's a red flag that you're not getting enough um, fiber from your nutrition, basically from your food, right? Fiber comes from intake of food that it's plant-based foods. It's oats, it's barley, it's wheat, it's anything plant-based that you can get your hands on. It's vegetables, it's fruits. And generally speaking, if you're trying to track your fiber, we would not want you to go do anything less than 18 grams a day. If you want to be the teacher's pet, 25 grams a day is perfect, right? You'll be feeling fantastic. Now, there's a bit of a fiber is a funny one because people react different to higher fiber intakes and lower fiber. So work up to that. Don't go straight to 25 grams a day and have too many Brussels sprouts because you'll be pretty gassy, right? But there's a lot of resources in the support group for you to sort of attack that, right? I've talked a lot about fiber actually, quite a bit. We're going to start talking about that on social media as well because estrogen, right, is a fantastic anti-inflammatory hormone. So when that sort of drops down, right, you're in you're heading into postmenopause, you've got bottoming out estrogen. Our body naturally, the inflammation in our body naturally increases. So that gut health is going to be thrown off. Hence, increased visceral fat, and therefore weight loss is going to be harder. And fiber counteracts a lot of that. So fiber is a fantastic way to improve your overall gut health, to remove toxins, to regulate your hormones, and so on and so forth, right? Average women that we speak to, not in our program, is consuming 12, yeah, I think it was 12 grams of protein, I think we worked out a day. 12 grams. Now, not only that, they also eat low fiber. And if I would ever recommend, if a woman is coming to us in order to lose weight and we were looking at her protein intake or her fats or what her fiber is like, I'd be, I would say, I don't care if you're having Coca-Cola, I don't care if you're having McDonald's. I care initially about your protein and fiber first, right? Don't have to be perfect. Your protein and fiber are your fundamental basis. I've got magnesium here, of course. Magnesium is a supplement. You need around 320 milligrams of this a day. Again, you don't require a supplement. You can get magnesium from your food intake if you've got a balanced diet. I personally supplement with it, and most recommend a lot of our clients do. It's inexpensive. Um, it's a lot of research on this, and there was one study that there were two groups. This is by the North American Menopause Society. Two groups. One group only consumed magnesium from food intake, and the other group consumed their magnesium from supplements. Now, both of those studies, they followed, women menopausal age. Both studies showed reduction in menopausal symptoms, reduction in visceral fat, improvement in overall health. So get magnesium. It is very bioavailable. It's very cheap, and it's something that we definitely need. Right now, right. One of the things that I would say is with a balanced diet, I'm not against supplements. I'm against women believing that they need supplements because you don't. Right? There are supplements that make things a bit easier, more convenient, whey protein, magnesium, vitamin D. But if you focus on balancing your diet, you won't have to require loads of supplements, right? So I think I'm not so sure about current clients right now, but I think it's something like 93% of our clients are not taking supplements, and the other 7%, it's probably like a magnesium and Vit D complex or something like that. Um, Vitamin D is something you should be taking, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, probably right now. Generally speaking, we should be looking at closing our nutritional gaps from your food intake. And then right? We look at supplements because they will slot in nicely, right? Sometimes people have nutritional deficiencies because of food preferences or food intolerances. Of course, please introduce a food supplement then, but don't do it the other way around. Don't do it just because you can't be asked to have any spinach or greens or something to get your magnesium in, right? Um, there's also like there's again like there's anti-inflammatory effects that you're going to that's going to help with regards to visceral fat from all of the stuff here. Whole grains. I absolutely love these, right? You want to be looking at and people are worried about carbohydrates most of the time that we speak to. Whole grains are, you want to probably try and get 2 to 3 portions of whole grain carbohydrates a day. Of course, if you're going to the gym, it's probably going to be a bit more, and it also depends on the type of exercise you're doing. But basically, whole grains contain carbohydrates, and what that is a lot of it is fiber that you require. What have we learned regarding fiber? We've learned that fiber is anti-inflammatory. It will reduce your visceral fat, right? Not only that, whole grains contain a host of minerals that we cannot get from other foods that help with your hormonal health. Now, of course, we want to make sure that we're not having, loads of crappy food and therefore a highly and highly inflammatory diet because one of the things that triggers visceral fat increase is inflammation, right? So we're obviously now losing our well, you're sort of losing your anti-inflammatory hormone, which is estrogen, then go through menopause. So the things that you want to avoid here is processed foods. I'm not saying cut it out completely. Life is about balance, but you'd want that sort of to reduce a bit more because your body can't handle as much of that inflammation. A lot of that inflammation comes from processed foods and other things. Alcohol, again, reduce it. You don't need to eliminate it. You'd probably love to increase things like you'd be good to increase colorful food in your diet. So the colorful fruit, veg for you, the antioxidant purposes, as you can see, antioxidant rich foods. Um, Now it's a lot of information to take in. So, like I say, we're not taking sort of, you know, I'm not talking about any specific individual here, but these are the things that you should be focused on. If you're looking at nutrition and say, where am I missing out? This is what you should be doing. This is what you should be doing. I just want to give you a few ideas of a couple of fantastic clients of ours. There's Janet, there's Sharon, and very different. Like obviously, visceral fats come down on all three of them. You can see looking fantastic. But these, you know, we've not only gone about reducing their visceral fat. You can see there's quite a bit of fat stored around the stomach, right? Around here, and around here. And it is a telltale sign of visceral fat. It's commonly known as a menobelly, menopause belly. We say menobelly. But in order to reduce those menopausal symptoms, increase these three gut health, increase their overall health factors, increase their bone density, and so on. It's the same thing that we do with all our clients. Put in these blocks. Get back to these blocks. Get these in, right? Because, you know, get a pen and paper. We're gonna discuss this, right? You want to start putting yourself in first, right? This is how we're gonna do it. Firstly, you want to tackle the subcutaneous. This is what we do. This is what we do in this metabolic reset system, right? I'm telling you exactly what we need to do. First one, right? The four-phase new you system. We call it metabolic reset. First one is perspective, right? With perspective, we have to audit your body and life. Get clear on where your priorities lie and how it's structured into your life. This starts with nutrition. This starts with stress. This starts with sleep. This starts with everything. You need to identify right now, if you're not part of, like, if you're in the program, we're doing this for you. If not, don't worry about it. If not, just write this down. Identify your weekly actions and success pillars that you need. Right, we call them non-negotiables. They're daily tasks that to complete specific to you. Ensure you've got a support needed to guarantee success. Right. This in this phase one and phase two, we're talking nutrition. We're talking we need to tackle that subcutaneous fat. We need to be in a caloric deficit. Nothing changes. Science does not change if you want to lose weight in your menopause. You still need to be in a caloric deficit. We need to see that initial weight loss drop. Everybody in the program, you know, will get a result in the first 7 days. That's the initial, there's water weight There's subcutaneous fat loss dropping down as well. The reason we do that is because you're like, fucking hell, this is fucking awesome. Oh my God, I'm actually starting to see results. That is, we're doing this for a reason. We're setting you up for success, right? There is, you know, here and phase sort of two, like I move it on phase one. So you get your new unique game plan, onboarding, auditing, and stuff like that. But phase two is the best part about the approach that I like is it's like a road, what do you call it, a ramp, right? We start you off with some results. We're tackling that subcutaneous fat, and the best thing is we're going to teach you. And there's a client watching this now. We're talking about plateaus specifically at the moment, but we're talking about also realistic timelines in those first few phases. So whatever, imagine I'm with a client right now, I would be talking about that at the beginning of the calls. I'd be saying, "Oh, this is what is realistic given, what's coming up." You need to do that. If you're doing this journey on your own, you need to do that yourself. What is realistic by March, April? What can I achieve? What can I achieve by June? Like, be realistic with yourself, because you'll put yourself under unrealistic pressure otherwise. Your body is different, so results are going to be different, right? You want to learn how to overcome plateaus. Now, we will release over the next few, probably next month or so, some evidence-based section, weight loss evidence-based section in our support group. But of course, with me and Viola are the founders of the MYM club that has that sort of one of the goals inside of that was, you know, to basically impact as many people as we can. That's why we do the free support group. That's why we do these because we want to be able to give you the information so you can run with it. And you don't have to join us, but if you want sort of it handheld, we're here. Um, and the problem is people don't implement. That's the biggest bane. We've got all the information in there, but if you implement it, you will see success. But anyway, I'm getting lost. I'm getting sidetracked. Phase two, basically, here is where we're sort of the ladies don't know this, but we're tackling visceral fat as well, right? Of course, we're building momentum, adapting healthier routine. We're starting to sort of expand the basics on working on the why behind the actions that they're taking, but we're tackling their visceral fat here as well. And then this is the fat that is around the stomach, but it doesn't massively show on the scales. Um, but it will be, from a health point of view, phenomenal. It will be phenomenal once you improve that. And the thing is, we have to talk about in these sort of phase two, phase three, we have to approach gut health. We have to talk about this stuff. Obviously, we talk about it at the beginning. How's your stools? How's your bloating and stuff like that. But there's specific phases to your journey because you know, if you're over 45, the bacteria in your gut is going to fall off a cliff, right? We want to make sure that even if a woman isn't experiencing symptoms of poor gut health, that we're doing things that are to help her in terms of whether it's probiotic rich foods, we're optimizing the lining of her gut, we're eliminating any foods that no longer serve her, we're making sure that her hormone regulation is optimal because a lot of the hormones are produced and stored and chemically detoxified in the gut. So making sure the nutrition is on point. So they send us the nutrition. So they're sending us the nutrition. We're planning the nutrition together because we're like, if that is off, it's going to impact the results, right? Of course, other things in terms of the next phases from the momentum, we're looking at a lot of the stuff we do is not just biology, it's also psychology as well. But we're looking at, the process phase represents a journey towards achieving your initial target. So we're probably closing in on where we're sort of their target weight that they initially spoke to us about, and then we're sort of future pacing for the next thing, which you should always be doing. A lot of the mistakes that people have is they will have like, I want to lose 10 kilos. I say I want to lose 20 pounds, 25 pounds or so. Great goal. But when they get to that, they think that's the end of their health journey. The health journey is just beginning, right? Now it's time we've got high momentum, results are fantastic. We need to delve deeper into your why. Why are we doing this? I want to be healthy. I want to be fit for the grandkids. Whatever it is, I want to be, you know, really active, going on hikes. Okay, fantastic. Now we start to shift to more of a performance-based goal. This is where it starts to get exciting. So I'm talking about that here, the focusing the stage, understanding the process of change. What is needed because your identity is starting to shift. Your identity is changing, and then we have mastery. We got maintaining and mastering your results because weight loss is not about just getting to the target weight. It's about maintaining those results as well, right? And that's part of the thing, right? We've got the amount of women that come to us with bloating, weight loss stuff, and we just take a look at their just their nutrition or the supplements they're consuming. Once we sort of pull some things out, the gut health is like, thank you. Now, you know, I want to dive deeper on these individual topics, gut stuff and stuff inside the support group and obviously inside our coaching program. But there's already a lot of stuff in our free support group. Um, but the thing is, even the free stuff in our support group, when people are actioning it, they're coming back and saying, "Oh my gosh, this stuff is amazing. Thank you so much. I spoke to the GP, I implemented it. My stool is, I'm no bloating anymore. I'm passing properly now. My stools are much better. And you know, this is the thing that makes me happy when people implement, and that's the reason why most people join our program. Actually, it's the implementation. It's the guesswork taking out of it. And the main thing really is that you take from this, you go, you know what, this is I've taken one tidbit of information or loads of tidbits of information. I'm going to do this, and this, right? Um, so yeah, I wanted to this sort of coming to an end of this masterclass. Basically, yeah, if you joined us sort of live, we've got some nice things, a few gifts for you. Just send me a message, please. Just say live. Just send me a message saying live, and I'll know you've watched it live. Um, so that sort of yeah, I can send you the free resources as a thank you for tuning in live. But yeah, we've in terms of to leave it with you, like in terms of our program, if you want extra help, we can jump on a sort of menopause metabolic health assessment. They're free to see if we can get you where you want to be. Basically, on those, we dive into sort of everything what's going on in your life. And we do spend a lot of time with our clients. We really want to see them succeed, so that if there is somebody, like, even if you just want to sort of book one of those in and just to get some insight, please do. We don't have a lot of time gaps, a lot of time slots for those, but I'm happy to sort of offer offer some time to anybody that needs a bit of free help. It's what we're here for. And these metabolic health assessments normally about 45 minutes. But what I would do is do health screening with you on there, nutrition, have a look at nutrition and stuff like that. Um, Now I'm going to love you and leave you. I will ask questions. Give me 2 secs. Cool. Questions. Has anybody got any questions specifically about anything we've talked about? Visceral fat. Um, let's have a look. Just taking a picture. Visceral fat. It could be anything, anything weight loss related. It could be how do it could be exercise, um, best exercise for weight loss. Anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourself if you want, I think. Just type it in the chat or send me plateaus. Okay, it's a good question. So, Tara, that's Tara, that is. Tara, I need more information on a plateau. What do you mean by a plateau? Do you mean just give me a scenario? Plateaus is a good one. It's really, really common. Yes. Tara, can you come on audio or not? Come and have a chat, love. Oh. Okay. All right, I'm going to answer both of these. A good question there, Jen. So I'm waiting. Okay, so I think Tara, correct me if I'm wrong. You did our 5 day challenge, yeah? Because you said you did amazing. I've done your metabolic reset 5 day plan. I'd done amazing, and but obviously I've got no more information after that. So if you just give me a bit of information as to what happened after, like is it a plateau after the 5 days? Is it you did that for 30 days? Give me a bit of information on that. I'll be able to give you some information, and I'll come to you in a minute, Jennifer. Sorry, it won't unmute. It's all right. You can just type it. And I'll come back to you in a second. So Jennifer, the protein wise, if you're tracking the amount of protein, in terms of grams, then you should be looking at, generally speaking, I say 0.8 grams per kilo of body weight, right? To make it easy, just do 1 gram per kilo, right? So, or 2 grams per pound. So if you weigh one, let's say you weigh just for numbers' sake. Oh, I won't be able to do it in stone, but like, let's say we weigh like, if someone weighs 100 kilos, we would want them to be sort of like at a minimum 100 grams of protein, right? There is a requirement for more protein if you are physically active, going to the gym, or you've got an active job. Let's say you work in a warehouse. There's a your requirements are bumping up, right? But for you specifically, I wouldn't want any less than 100 grams. And remember, this is what a lot of women get wrong. If you're looking at salmon, it's not the weight of the food, right? So if some people track their calories, and that's fine. So when you weigh it, the weight of the, let's say you've got a 200-gram salmon, there's not 200 grams of protein in that salmon, right? It's 200 grams of weight. The protein is probably around 30 to 40 grams, and the rest is it's fats, it's water, right? So just be aware of that because people go, oh, hey, protein easy. I'm having like 400 grams a day. I'm like, oh, okay, that's probably not that. It's only a bit of chicken there, love. Okay, great. So good question that was Jennifer. So I followed your metabolic reset plan. How you thumb some typing this out now, Tara? Followed your metabolic reset plan, lost over a stone, upped my protein to support weight training, carried on no sugar in your instructions, stayed the same weight for the last 2 weeks, bouncing around a pound off and back on. Haven't gained the stone back though, which is great. Just wondering what approach to take, please. So here, it's really a good one. The problem is if you're not, if you're going solely by weight and you're weight training now, you would have increased your muscle mass. So we can't tell whether you are losing fat and building muscle. So what I would advise of you with all of our ladies that are currently coaching right now, you have to do your measurements always because you just said I've lost inches. So what that means is you're still on the you're still losing fat. You're just potentially putting on a bit of muscle. And that's the danger with just solely looking at scale weight. You know, a lot of the women that we coach are, and it's ingrained in you from the magazines and probably your parents and stuff like that. It's all our scale weight, and if that's the only measure of success, you miss out on all the other beautiful things that you're achieving throughout the week. Whether you've walked 10K for the first time in 3 weeks, whether you made it to the gym and you did a 10-minute workout, or you was at home and you did a 5-minute workout. These are really things to hold on to, and you miss that if you just focus on scale weight. Whereas you've lost, you're still losing inches, which is fantastic. So what I'd say is probably you're probably actually not actually hitting a true plateau. You're hitting a weight plateau, but not a fat loss plateau. So that's something to consider. You lost the dress size. That's amazing. Great job. Um, yeah, I think slow but steady. I haven't lost this much weight in years. That's amazing. And that's like free information from our challenge. And I wish everybody, of course, I wish everybody that didn't join our program would do that because it can be done. It can be done. It's just it is I do appreciate it is hard to implement something without the support. Thank you. Yeah, it is. I implement it every day. It's amazing. It's bloody awesome. That is. But let's assume, right? Let's assume for a moment you didn't get results, right? Let's say you lost a stone, you weren't weight training, or maybe you are weight training. The measurements hadn't dropped for a couple of weeks. Then what's the approach? And I think that's the question because where do you go there? What I would do is I would take stock of what my day is. I would take stock is okay, has my food changed? Right? Has my food changed? How is my sleep? How am I pooping? Am I bloated? What is my digestive tract feeling like? Like, am I gassy after each meal? Am I burping? Um, am I going to the bathroom regularly? Am I sleeping well? Is my sleep consistent? Right? I might be sleeping 10 hours one night and then 7 hours the next, and then eight, and then six. Things to consider. So have a look at all of these things because if you address all of those things, and this is the benefit of having a coach. They spot it, well, we'll spot it straight away. We go, this is your issue. Whereas you'll have to on your own, you have to go, okay, so I'm sleeping okay. And obviously that's fine, but a lot of people don't do it on their own, right? They won't sit down and go, right, how's my sleep been? My sleep has been like this. Whereas, there's some of our clients watching, and we have to jump on the phone with us and report good or bad. Like, oh fuck. So like, and then we'll have data to make sure that to check all their bloating and stress, and so that's what I would do is have a look at your stress, have a look at your sleep, have a look at your nutrition. Has my nutrition changed? Oh yes, I had a couple of weekends where I had too much alcohol, or maybe it was a caloric issue then. Okay, maybe it was, or my nutrition was fine. Okay, maybe it's a sleep issue. Maybe it's a stress management issue. Address all that first and then go, okay, I need to just slightly tweak the calories or adjust my nutrition. Yeah, it takes a lot of willpower and motivation to do it on your own. I 100% agree with that, Jennifer. Like, I'm, I consider myself in shape. I don't do it on my own. I am lazy to the bone. Like in terms of especially gym stuff and nutrition stuff. Like, and if I didn't have a coach, oh, I would be, it'd be a pack of biscuits every night. And I swear I could do that. I promise you, because I think there's a little fat man inside me. A little, honestly, I'm a greedy guy, I'm an emotional eater, and I think that having somebody to sort of just go, hey, here's my food, and what should I do now? Even though I know what to do, it takes away that mental load of doing it. It is. Oh, that's lovely. I just read that. Thanks, Tara. You've changed my life. Seriously, I'm so grateful to you both. That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's really nice. Yeah, I didn't want to keep you this long, but yeah, because you've tuned in live, just send me a message. Um, Gotta go now. Thanks to it. Yeah, I'm gonna let you all go now. I've kept you way too long. I wanted this to be like 40 minutes. I always do it. Paddy's on her way to work. All right, cool. I'll let you all go and yeah, send me a message, all of you saying live, so I can send you these resources. Um, as a thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you. Thanks. Have a nice evening. See you later.